everybody. Everyone asks me, how do I store my stamps and keep the toning and all the dust and all the elements off those stamps? Now, I use albums with sleeves. I tell everybody I'm sort of a big cheerleader for the old album and sleeves, but they are very expensive. They're about $80 a set for the album and the sleeve, and then you can put those hanger inserts or the prints I like using because they're nice and dark and the little sleeves don't fall off. And when I was a lot younger, probably 20-30 years ago, I couldn't afford 10 albums at $80 each because that's $800. So I made my own. So I'm going to share how I did it on a cheap version. And I think it cost me about $5 for each set. And I had 10 sets of those for $50. So I'll show you what they look like. They're not pretty, but they do exactly the same job. All right, let's have a look. These really cool black binders. They're from Lighthouse. You can tell that by the little lighthouse here. This one stores my kangaroos. I've got 10 of these albums, 8 or 10. I know I have to get some more. Beautiful, got like a fake leather on them. And you open them up and they've got a beautiful insert, nice cover, and they've got 4 like clip rings. And you can get the prints. I'll put the prints in here and the print sheets, and I put my stamps, and that's how I do all my stamps. All right, so that is the way to look after your stamps. The binder covers all this area and makes sure no elements or air comes in and attacks these stamps at the side first and then the rest. And these sheets are not Chinese acid, they're a lot better pH, and they protect your stamps. So anything you put in here, you go like so, you got your album, then you get a folder like so, and boom, nice and perfect, and you look after your stamps. Now, back in the day, I couldn't afford that. So what I did was I made my own folders out of cardboard. Now I'm gonna pull one of these apart with a Stanley knife, and I've got some more tape here, and I'll show you how I cut it out. And I just got boxes from Bunnings or any local shop, and I laid them out and worked out how to make a folder and then taped the ends. Yeah, they look very crude, not very pretty, but I reckon you could put Australia on the outside or do them up, do the spines up nicely. I just never got to it because I always knew I was going to buy the black ones, and these were just temporary, but I had 10 of these. Now, for the album, I just went down to Office Works or just any school supply area and got these really cheap binders. And that's where the costs come in, $5. And then 4 rings. These are a lot bigger than the other album. And then you got your sheets here. Look at that. How perfect. And that's how you can do it on the cheap. So the cost really are these sheets, which cost, I don't know, if you buy them in bulk, they're about $10, $12 for a lot of 10. And then you have to buy 100 to get it at a lot cheaper price, but you can do that. But these here, $5. And this here, $0. Oh, the tape might cost, it's really good, really nice tape, really thick tape I got. And it's like cloth tape nearly. And very hard to tear and rip and everything, but it lasts a long time. This lasts a good 20-30 years. So I've had that for this long. So there you go, and then you put that in there. So I'm going to pull one apart now, and I'll show you, lay it out, and then sticky tape it up for you and show you. All right? Wait one. Right. So the first one of these you make are going to be the hardest one. All right? So really what I did was I grabbed the folder and measured it out along here, so I knew it fit. I then measured the spine of the folder, and then I just copied from this side. Rightio? And then what you do is this edge bit, you've just got to measure this width and add that width to the very end on both sides. Rightio? And I cut that out of cardboard. That's it. That is real basic. So instead of having to pay $80 to get these, you just cut them out of cardboard. Now, if you really, if you want to spend the time, you can buy, I think that wrapping paper or the paper we used to use for covering kids' school books, that sticky stuff. You could cover that on the outside of it and make them look really nice. You could put black on them, like that black stuff. And yeah, you can make them look very, very nice. And no one would ever know. But no one ever come into my stamp den. So never got, you know, no one could really look how bad they were. Except my wife. And then that's why she went and bought my proper ones. But all you do then is you tape it. So you just grab the tape and just tape it around. And what you do is I always find if you just do the edges first, just to get the main shape of it, of the box, like so. So I was thinking this tape's probably worth $15 because it's really good tape. And you can tell because it took me a little while to cut through this again, just so I could show you me building it again. There we go. And then one at the end. There we go. And now we just do the long strips. Just go put it on like that. There we go. Look at that. Also like putting a little bit of tape in the inside there, just so you don't... I did that after I had a bit of trouble with them wearing out in that corner bit. It was like a modification I made, but I'll tell you about it. Save you having to deal with the same thing. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. And I tell you, like, this is not the best job you can do. If you took your time, you could really make these look nice and no one could tell. If you got the time, do it. At the time, I was working full time and I just had I had one small child and my other boy just turned up and he was a baby. So really all my money was going to nappies and stuff like that. So feeding kids in school and stuff. So that solved the problem for me. Because really what it's about is looking after your stamps. Perfect. Cut a little thing like that. Fold that around like so. There we go, look at that, perfect. I'm sort of doing this a lot faster, noting that you guys are watching. First time I think I was a lot slower. There we go. And you could go further down if you want, but that works. That's done. Look at that. And I'll go get the folder. And again, this is another one I've cut. So this is the folder you measure that outer edge on. I think I had the folder's just a little baby bit bigger. You can't even really see how much bigger. It's probably 1 millimeter on each side. And it just fits straight in. Look at that. Boom, covered. It's protected. $5. $50 for 10. How perfect. Now you're a professional. All right, before I sign off, I've got another envelope. I bought something, I don't know what. It's just been sitting on my desk. And now, because I do the YouTube videos, I wait until I'm shooting before I open it up. It's from WA. All right, he's used a stamp release cover. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, there we go. Might help. Perfect. I should keep this on my desk all the time. Oh, look at that. Oh yes, what was the deal with this? I got this really, really cheaply. Oops. I will tell you how much I paid for this, and then we'll work out how much it's worth. But I think they made a mistake and called it something different. I will have a look and figure the story out and shoot it. I paid $16.95 for this plus postage. It is a mint, very lightly hinged, and you probably can't even see the hinge on there because it is so light. It's way up the top there. Very good example of a very lightly hinged stamp. But I did notice it was a bit skew with the colour, and I didn't think I had that colour. It was hard to tell online on the computer and everything, so I just took a gamble, because this stamp is worth, if you have a look, yellow olive dye 1, 75, pale olive dye 1, 75. How do we tell again what the marks are for dyes? I'll just quickly go over those for these kangaroo stamps again, just for the people who haven't seen that video. And this amazing book, which is the Australian Commonwealth Specialist Catalogue for kangaroos, cost me $120 because I got a further discount by Philip. And basically the differences are, if you have a look here, die 1, there's a little mark here, which this stamp I bought, it's got the very slightest little gap. It's not as big as that. Die 2, that gap is closed up, so it's very close between both. Die 2A, they've got a little gap here off the coast of West Australia. And then die 2B, there's a crack up the top above the ST. Rightio, and then this is a little bit thicker on this corner, but you can always just see the gap here for the ST. So there are your 4 dies. And what they mean by dies is the printing dies they use to print the stamps. So each time they used a different one of those dies, there was little mistakes. So there are separate prices for this 3D. You got die 1, 2, and then if you go to the next page, there's a die 2B up there as well as a Harrison plate. But I know that this is a 3rd watermark, so if you like, oh, it's hard, I need something dark. I'm at my end of my phone. You might be able to slightly see the watermark. It's a thin crown, so there's a whole heap of different crowns. I'll quickly just show you the crowns and what they look like. I'll grab you, this is one of my favourite albums of all time. I had this many years ago, and I just used it to death before I went on to the specialist albums. But this 4th edition is pretty well out of date now. It was developed by a local stamp dealer, Michael Eastick, and this is the guy here. And I wish he would update this and send it back out again, even just for the early issues and that, because he was the first person ever to make provide all the colour pictures, and you can really see the differentiation of all the stamps. Just a brilliant catalogue, just one of the best ones. And this is how I learned about my watermarks, and you probably noticed that all the watermarks I have here in my little container were photocopied from here, because I'm just so used to using this book from being when I was younger. But this is your type 1 stamp, it's the thick crown. Type 2 with the edges. Type 3 is that thin one, so from the stamp I just bought. Large multi watermark, it reminds me of that stamp spread out. Small watermarks moved around, and then you got the Commonwealth of Australia watermark. So there your type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 watermarks for kangaroos onwards. Now, if you do colonial stamps, you'll find that there's a whole heap of different colonial stamps, and he's marked them all out here, which is very helpful. So hard to find these watermarks, and in this book I'll keep it forever, because it just does, the Tasmanian, the Victorian, Queensland watermarks. So these are from very early stamps. So look at that. And he's the first person ever to do some coloured pictures of the colonial stamps. I wish that he'd spend the time and just do an album like this, just the colonial stamps and early pre-decimal. It'd be the greatest album in the world. And he's the first person to put in A4 as well, like nice and big like that. Just love it. Best album in the world. Right, so we grabbed this new $16.95 stamp, which is worth a minimum of $75. And look at that. Look how different that is. See the change in colour? Absolutely amazing. There we go. And I'll put that there. So it's just a beautiful change of color. So that's what I try and do, is I try and find these different color changes each and every time, because they must be a different stamp. And for $16.95, I'm saving 50, 60 bucks. It's a very nice stamp. I mean, it's probably a little bit close to this edge, but you know, off center. It's not perfect, and the perfs here are a bit thin, but it's a beautiful different color. I love all the, I think we'll take you a thing closer. I love all these postmarks, the cancellations. Look at those. They come up so well on this colour, don't they? I think that stamp I bought up top is close, it's nearly close to these colours. It's a little bit pale olive, so I'm going to have to do a tag for that once I determine what colour it is. Probably more of a pale olive. And then, yeah, I'll annotate it up. But another nice stamp for the kangaroo collection. All right, guys, very quick video today. It's just been on my mind. A lot of people asking, you know, what folders I buy, and oh, they're so expensive. So I've provided you a very cheap option that's very okay, and you can make them look a lot nicer than how I used them, because once I finished the 10, I was over it, and I didn't really care how they look because no one ever looked at them. I just wanted to protect my stamps, and you can too. I always worry now when I look at my bookshelf and I've got all the really nice folders. I think people come rob the house and go, oh, they must be something. But then they look at the old folders and they'd probably just leave them all there to rot and die. So I think it's a really good protection strategy for your stamps. No one will come and steal them. They'll just go, oh, there mustn't be anything important in those old cardboard boxes. Let's just leave them. Oh, those pretty black albums, Lighthouse albums, we should take those. Anyway, have a great day. Keep on collecting stamps. Throw yourself into it. 2026 is going to be a huge year. All right, guys, I'm going to try and do, 100 videos this year. So I'll try and keep them under an hour, so all the subtitles will work on them, but let's aim for 100. So I'll see how we go. All right, have a great one. See ya.